Welcome to the Wynn Show, where everybody comes to win. Welcome to this episode of The Wynn Show, where everybody comes to win. In studio today, we have Will Port with us. And let me just tell you, Will's gonna knock your socks off. So I'm setting the bar pretty high here, but I know that you can exceed the bar I'm setting.
Well, you probably set it way too high, but thank you for having me here today, Wynn.
Okay, so you guys need to know a little something about Will. First off, you are an Army officer, right? So we first want to give a shout out and a thank you to you for your service, and to all of the people who serve with you. We want to say thank you to them as well, because that's super important to us, okay?
Well, thank you. It's an honor to serve.
How long have you been in the Army?
Total, just over 20 years. Been in the Army. Started off in the South Carolina National Guard and ended up 2004 deployed with the local boys from out of here. Went to Iraq and sort of fell in love with it. There was an opportunity to switch over to the regular Army after I got overseas, and so when I finished that deployment, I switched over to the regular Army, and I haven't looked back. I've been doing that ever since.
So I just have to stop you already, okay? You get deployed to Iraq, and that's where you fall in love with the Army?
Absolutely. I mean, I always liked the Army. I mean, I joined it for a reason.
Right.
But what I really fell in love with was the people I was around, and the fact that we were, I had a purpose. The people I was around, people came from all different backgrounds. And the truth is, I had farmers, I had successful business people, and I had people that had grew up in gangs. And we were all in the same element, same unit. And the truth is, they talk about a band of brothers, but we came together. And I really liked that community, that brotherhood. And that just inspired me. Plus, I got to see a lot of great things happening in Iraq at that time. And so I decided that's what I wanted to make my profession, my career.
So for a lot of us, we hear great things happening in Iraq at that time, and we think of a deployment. And I mean, as a civilian, my mind just automatically goes to awful, terrible, horrible. But really, it was in that situation that you discovered part of your purpose in the people that you were there with, and coming together for a cause. Is that?
No, absolutely. Right? War is nasty and dangerous, and there's a lot of really bad things, and unfortunately or fortunately, it helped make me who I am today. But I did experience that as well. But in the biggest conflicts you ever have, you're going to see there's people that are helping other people. There's always people that stand out. It might be the military, it might be first responders, it might be civilians, a mom or a dad. I happened to be over there when the first elections happened, and people would walk. There'd be these lines that were 1,000 meters long, with people stand in line to vote for the first time, and they would, they would print when they voted, they would ink their finger. So they would give you like a thumbs up, or they would show you their finger that they had voted.
Wow.
And it was inspiring. It was an inspiring time. There's been things good and bad that have happened, but I really appreciate that time.
I get the feeling that you are, and I know you a little bit, so I know that you are a person who, no matter what's happening, you're looking for the best. You're finding, how do I grow? You're looking for the positives and all of that. And you mentioned something as you were talking just then about it could be a mom or dad, right? It could be a civilian, could be a first responder. People are there to help, willing to help. And I think one of the things that our viewers are going to find inspiring about you also is that you are a dad, and you're dad of a special needs child as well, right?
I am. I've got 5 awesome kids. My youngest is she's on the spectrum. She's got some additional medical things. She's one of my heroes. She's really tough. I think she's had, not due to autism, but due to some of the other things, she's had 16 surgeries. And so that was, and I actually got hurt once, and I had to go into surgery, and she talked to me, and she gave me pointers like going in, hey, they're going to put this gas on you, they're going to start counting down from 10.
Wow.
And she was 6 years old talking me through it. So
oh my gosh.
she's one of the toughest, most resilient kids I know. She's got her struggles, but she's,
sure.
She's pretty amazing.
Well, anybody who can do 16 surgeries is pretty doggone amazing. So at 6 years old, she's already had how many surgeries?
I think she'd had 14 at that point.
Okay. And you're going into surgery this was for your back injury?
Roger.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I fractured the back of my L5 vertebrae.
Okay.
And had to have a couple of surgeries to put that back together.
Okay. And the surgery piece for you, so we know your daughter is in there cheerleading dad, right?
Right.
And this was what year?
I got injured in 2014, had my first surgery, Veterans Day weekend 2015, and then that one was a failed surgery and had my spine fused in May of 2016.
Okay. So, here we go, right? Your daughter's lived it. She's helping you. But now here we're looking at you healthy, out there, doing amazing things. So not only is Will an officer in the Army, you're also a graduate student at Coastal Carolina University. And through that, you stepped into kind of an intern, but became a lot bigger position with the Champion Autism Network, right?
Right.
So, okay, you guys has had a failed back surgery, has had a successful back surgery. Wipe your excuses off of your plates because this is inspiration right here.
Yeah, I mean, but bad things
Wow.
happen to us, and kind of my philosophy is you get 3 days to wallow in it. You know, after 3 days, you got to start putting, left foot, left foot, and repeat. You just got to keep going. But you can give yourself about 3 days, but that's about it.
I love that. So in our family, we talk in a little bit different way, but we talk about if you come to stay, right? So like if I went back home to stay with mom and dad, or my brother or sisters come to stay with me, we talk about having a 3-day fish rule. Because after 3 days, you kind of start to stink. I've never heard of it in the mindset place of you can waller 3 days and then you got to get out of that. So I love
That's
it.
it.
I'm like, oh, the fish rule works for mindset.
I do the same thing with guests
people,
coming in.
yeah.
After 3 days, just like fish, you got to throw them out because they both start to stink.
Yeah, absolutely. And being here at the beach, people want to come all the time. So we have to set a parameter, get them out of there. But okay, so we should probably leave fish for a minute. Let's talk about, that's inspiration. So there's no stopping you, there's no stopping your daughter, and you have 4 other amazing children as well. So you're a full-time dad, you're in the Army, you're a graduate student, you're volunteering and kind of moving into position with CAN, with just the Champion Autism Network, okay? So we see all of this in you, we're being inspired, but who inspired you? How did you come to do these things?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I came from an amazing family. I have a dad, I had a mom that were very influential in the community. They always were out there working in the community. A lot of
and you, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you grew up in
So I grew up in Georgetown County, a little place
That's
called
right.
Pleasant Hill. It's out a very rural area of South Carolina. Great community. I love it. I'm back in that area again right now. Just phenomenal. But being in that community, I saw a lot of I had coaches, I had teachers. There were a lot of men and women in the community themselves. I was fortunate enough to be around. My dad actually had a little gas station turned into a restaurant, had a little round table. A lot of the farmers would come around and they would sit around and drink coffee in the mornings. Hunters would come in, politicians would come in. So even at a young age, I got exposure to a lot of people, and I'd sit around and listen to these stories and listen to different people talk. And then obviously, I joined the military. I've had excellent leadership. I've seen, some bad examples as well. And just throughout, I gain inspiration everywhere I look.
Love that. And you made a good point right there for some people who may be feeling like, oh, it sounds great for you, but I've had these bad experiences with managers, leaders, whatever. You have as well, but we learn almost more from the bad ones than we do from the good ones sometimes, because we think, I am not going to be like that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have to know what we're looking for.
And another thing just to point out,
Yeah.
not everybody gets to sit around a coffee table at a young age and listen to, like I said, these farmers, these politicians, different people talk. One of the things that I also found, and I love, is I love to read. And I found that I love to read biographies. I also love to read fiction. And you can find good examples of leadership, good examples of people reaching their dreams or going after, or failure, and in fiction and nonfiction and stuff like that. So just because you don't have the same experience, we all have libraries and stuff, so we all have the opportunity for some experiences.
Yeah. And now on the internet.
Oh, absolutely.
Podcast. You're a big podcast listener, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so there's all kinds of inspiration. If you can get to YouTube on your phone, you can be inspired, right? Well, yeah, because we're on YouTube. The Wynn Show. No? Got to put in that shameless plug, right? But that's great. So you had a unique experience and you were exposed to a lot early on, but you're not giving them any excuses.
No, absolutely not. You get 3 days, that's it.
3 days, that's right. Super. We're going to take just a short break, and when we come back, we're going to find out if Will, this man of like 3 days and we got to get there and inspiration to us and a big doer, what's he ever faced that made him feel like this is impossible? We'll be right back, more with Will Port in a minute. Welcome back. We are in studio with Will Port, and he has already blown our minds with all that he does. And so we're going to try and catch him now. I'm going to ask this question, which is, have you ever been up against something that you felt like this is just impossible? And if you have, how did you get over it and keep going?
I absolutely been, like you said, I've been in the military. I've done 4 deployments.
Whoa, wait, hold up. We only talked about the one. You've deployed 4 times?
Yes.
Always to war or just?
I did 2 tours in Iraq, kind of back to back. Did 1 tour in Afghanistan, and then went to Kuwait as part of the Rapid Reaction Force, part of that over there.
Wow.
Kind of when everything kicked off with ISIS.
Wow. I just had to sit with that a second, okay? Yeah. Okay.
It's good. I mean, that's what I do, and that's what a lot of people just like me do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it just means the world to me. I come from a military family, Air Force, Marines. Yeah, my son is serving right now in the Air Force.
Oh, nice.
And so just the level of commitment and service and how you're able to say, yeah, that's what I do because that's what I do. It's part of who you are. I get. Anyway, Okay, thanks, Will. Wow, let's go back to impossible. You got a lot that I'm sure you have faced.
Yeah, I mean, going back to your original question, when you mentioned things are impossible, I've been in situations with, like I said, with war. I injured my back. I went through a divorce. A lot of different things have gone on. And whenever that happens, you just try to, best thing I can say is you just focus on something. You find one thing that you can accomplish. And a lot of times if you can accomplish that one thing, it could be making your bed, it could be paying one bill, whatever it is, it builds to another one. And then eventually you start to build some momentum, which it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're starting out where you're dealing with conflict, chaos. If you can start building momentum, then you can get through that. I've got a philosophy, as I've been working at a university and kind of around civilians a little bit more, that seems to be kind of popular, that I like to say, and I didn't realize I said it that much, but when things are going crazy and you're trying to figure out what to do, I just tell people to focus on the gator closest to the boat. And maybe that's a little country of me, but when everything's going wrong, you don't need strategy, you don't need all these things. You got to hit that gator that's closest to the boat. So whatever that is, and then you can worry about the next one that gets closest after that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's, oh my gosh, yeah, it's good. You're a low country guy, and that's what we can relate to. Focus on the gator closest to the boat, y'all. Don't get all caught up in the swirl. And in the work I do, even in executive coaching, right? With the owners of multi-million-dollar businesses, they get into the same churn.
Yeah.
And they begin to go all these things because what they're responsible for is so big. And I didn't know, but I'm going to start using it now. But what I do is tell them, like, whoa, wait, let's come right to this. Let's simplify, and then we start to move. But I'm going to start telling them to focus on the gator closest to the boat. I love that. So that's what you've employed in your own life.
I try to.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, you're here today after a lot of experiences, and you're volunteering, you're still in the Army, you're the graduate student. I mean, you're doing a lot, so it must be working for you.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Excellent. Okay. So, is there a story that you could share with us, okay,
Okay.
That would really serve our viewers. And maybe I don't want to put words in your mouth. Maybe it's around your back. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something from some of your travels and your work, overseas. Maybe it's your daughter, right? Or one of your other kids that will just really open the door to the inner will and let our people say, okay, I identify with that. I know where he's coming from.
I don't know about a story. I'm a pretty laid back person. I try not to lose my cool very often. I kind of tend not to worry about things a whole lot.
How do you do that?
It's just a mindset. You make up your mind that you're going to stay positive. You look for the small things. I grew up. My dad said, why worry about things? You can't do anything about them.
Smart dad.
I've heard somebody, one of these famous speakers made a comment that when you worry about things that haven't happened yet, then you're giving power to something that, you're taking future problems and you're having them today. So I just make it a point to just take everything as it comes, kind of enjoy the day. I plan.
Yeah.
I look out and I have goals and things like that, but I really focus on the day and try to enjoy the day. One of the big things I will say when you talk about see the inner will, one of the things, going to war, being injured, I'm not a Purple Heart or anything like that. I did hurt my back while I was overseas, but it wasn't combat related.
Sounds like there might be a story in that, y'all.
No,
darn.
There's no real story. I was working really hard, and it was literally the straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh, gosh.
But
you should make up a story, right? Just something that would really engage people.
Well, I'll tell you that one when we're not on the
We're not on camera?
YouTube.
Okay, sorry, y'all.
No, biggest thing is I don't take anything for granted. My family, just experiences, nature, I literally don't take anything for granted anymore. And that's probably the biggest thing if you wanted to look into will. It's just enjoying every opportunity, because you don't know when when it's going to be your last. So
yeah.
And that includes work. I take pride in what I do. Everything I do. Working with Ken, going out, have an opportunity to speak about people and share Champion Autism Network's mission to help empower families and give families great opportunities and stuff like this.
Yeah,
I enjoy that.
Yeah, you were just where with Ken?
Just went out to the Ozarks, Branson, Missouri area, Hollister. Phenomenal. The community out there is absolutely amazing. They're so welcoming to our families, and they really understand how to lead with love.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that is the mission of Champion Autism Network, Lead with Love. We're building those autism-friendly communities, and it's been a nationwide expansion now, and you are really instrumental in bringing along that whole area out there. So see, folks, there's just so much to will, right? Pick your small piece and identify and latch onto that and start making the difference in your community as well. Yeah. So I think we're going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to allow you, or ask you if you would, to do two things. To really just look our viewers in the eye and give them the best Willport inspiration that you can for them to make a difference where they are. And then I'm also going to allow you, or ask you to, promo for Champion Autism Network.
Okay.
Unless you want to do it for the Army.
No, I'll do either one, but I haven't been approved by PAO for the Army, so I'll focus on Champion Autism Network.
Yeah, or even Coastal Carolina, right? So you've got all these big things in your life that you might want to speak to, and we'll allow a little bit of that. We'll give them some grace for that. But we'll be right back with some more from Willport. Welcome back to the Wynn Show. We are in studio with Willport, graduate student at Coastal Carolina University. Shout out to the Chanticleers, right? Sean's up. Sean's up. Army officer and volunteer with the Champion Autism Network. And in this moment, we've asked Will to do two things as we wrap up our time together. The first is, let's go promo first, and then we'll save inspiration for the last minute. So I've asked Will if he would give you guys a promo, really sell us on the thing that's closest to your heart. which I'm
All right,
guessing
well,
is going to be Champion.
I tell you what,
Autism
I'm going to talk
Network.
specifically about Champion Autism Network.
Yeah, I guess there's other things
Yeah.
that are close to your heart, but that's the big one for today.
Yeah. CAN, as we call it, Champion Autism Network, it's a phenomenal organization. There are many great organizations out there that take care of and support people with autism. What Champion Autism Network does a little bit differently is they take care of the whole family. They work with businesses, they work in the communities, and they truly try to help build autism-friendly communities that the entire family can enjoy. And by doing that, they give families normal family experiences with just mild modifications. And they let them go out and do some of the things that a lot of times when you have a special needs child or somebody on the spectrum, you feel like you can't do. And CAN makes a difference by giving those opportunities.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And you're going to be out on the road for them again soon, right?
Yeah, I'll be doing a little bit of work locally over the next few weeks, and then I'm going to Orlando. Next is the next place I'm going. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So watch out, Orlando. Will's on the way.
That's right.
He's bringing CAN. So then the last thing we'll ask of you is if you would just share with our viewers just some bit of Will that they can really latch on to and say, if he can do it, then so can I. Like, make a difference where they live.
You know, well, that right there that you said at the end, make a difference where you live. There's so many opportunities that are missed every single day. I love Sebastian Younger. He wrote a book called Tribe, where he really talks about community and going out and, you can start small. It doesn't have to be big. You could start by making a movement, just going out and picking up trash. I can remember picking up trash. I'd walk the dog and I started picking up trash, taking a bag, making that little section a little bit cleaner. And some other people that I know started doing it, or they were already doing it and they chimed in. There's people that you can volunteer in your schools. There are opportunities to volunteer. It's an opportunity just to hold the door open and be nice to somebody. And you start doing these things, and just like I talked about before, you can build that momentum. And you might see an opportunity that can turn into a business or it can turn into a nonprofit organization, but none of that matters nearly as much as just getting started. You don't have to do great things right off the bat. You just have to start somewhere.
Yeah. I've often heard, and I've even said sometimes, you don't have to be great to start. Yeah. You have to start to be great.
That's right.
Yeah. So I love the idea you just gave us of picking up trash while you're out walking your dog. Yeah. You're going to have a bag. Well, we hope you have a bag with you anyways, to pick up after your dog. But just to put trash, that's a great start. Yeah. Anybody can do that.
Yeah, and it helps your community.
Yeah, absolutely, to keep things beautiful. Mm-hmm. Wow, Will, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Wynn.
And for the work that you do with Champion Autism Network, for staying in a continual learning situation too, for being at Coastal and making yourself better, and then, of course, for protecting the rest of us and for encouraging and helping your fellow soldiers along the way to do the hard job that you all do collectively. So we thank you for that as well. And you guys, if you've been inspired by Will, which how could you not be? Hello. We do want to hear from you. What is it that you're going to commit to doing? Put it in the comments wherever you're seeing this video and let us know what Will has inspired you to do. And let's see if your comment will then inspire the next person. This is all about the ripple effect. Thanks for watching The Wynn Show. We will see you on another episode very soon. Thank you for watching this episode of The Wynn Show. This is Wynn, and I'm inviting you to discover what's possible in your life by joining me in the I'm Possible Discovery program. You can find all the details at bsharp.us/join.